All right, so you guys asked for it. You liked the last, Tim, enhancing one of my songs that I was already nervous to let him hear. So we're going to do it again because the last one was just amazing. I went home and it helped me so much, like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So what's cool is I can hear what a master would do, and then it has the practicality of going home and actually being able to try to like mimic something like that but make it your own, which is what we're all trying to do, is teach people to be creative. So this song's called Wild Ride. It's same guy of the last video that we did, and it's just another tune, and he's going to do the exact same thing, which is magic.
Okay, so you gave me the song, I put it into Pro Tools, it's up and running. I wrote a chart, which means I just wrote the chords down. This starts with the verse, and it's got the pre-chorus. You have asked me to do something in the pre-chorus. It's a really common question. When I work for people, they say, hey, this section needs something. Very common. Pre-chorus goes, I'm looking at my chart, from E minor to C, E minor to C, E minor to D, C to D. So if I can just move this over. One of the things in my studio, I don't have the great place for a chart. I'm going to figure that out someday.
So on the first listen, what immediately popped in your mind? Like, this needs...
Here's what... Okay, I'm going to listen to it once and pretend this is my first listen. It's really my second listen. Away, but you just put up a wall. I'm going to choose to do an arpeggio, which is basically, arpeggio is just a bunch of notes ringing in order, I guess. I'm sure there's a good definition for it. I will look it up and
so I love the sound you did too. And what's interesting is, for hearing it dry, it might sound like there's a lot of stuff going on, but when I heard you play over it, it's really cool how it just like naturally just sits and it creates its own space.
Okay, so yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do something that simple. That was just, this is an arpeggio. But I'm going to do maybe an arpeggio that has some funny note choices just to add interest, because there's a simplicity about what you did. It's rhythmic, there's a little bit of arpeggiation going on, but I'm going to try and do a counterpoint melody arpeggio over it. And really all that is me, I'm grabbing the E minor chord and playing some ringy notes, and it's not as complicated as it sounds. But you just put up a wall.
And that's why there's only like 5 of you guys in the world.
Okay, so let's deconstruct that a little bit. It was a little too complicated, but that's because I was trying to come up with something.
Sure.
Really, in the world of music now, you might want to do something a little simpler than that. But I still would go. And the other thing I do is I made it into an A-B part. So if my part cycles around 4 times, and that's one cycle, I'm going to go A, B, A, and then I'll climb out at the end. So rather than repeat the same thing each time, I do a phrase, I do a variation on the phrase, then I repeat the first phrase, so we get the satisfaction of hearing something we heard before.
Right.
And then I climb out into the chorus.
And you kind of go high, which automatically kind of lifts.
Exactly. Yeah. And, it's, a device that always works. Go from low to high and create the excitement, magic excitement.
That's awesome.
I'll do it one more time. Okay, so I'm going to simplify it and still use the same tricks, but I'm going to simplify. Let's try this. Step away, but you just put up a wall. Nope. Step away, but you just put up a wall. It's just too long. one thing I did there, which is a miracle, is I left a little space. The one thing, guitar players just take all the space all the time. I think the first half can be better.
Okay.
So what I'm
Let's
going
see
to do
it.
is I'm going to set the machine to auto punch, and I'm going to make the first half perfect, he said. Come on.
Don't you just wish computers would do what you told them to do?
It's coming.
But you just put up a wall.
Okay, I think I did it. Okay, I'm going to take it a step further and make it better.
But you just put up a wall.
I like that.
But you just put up a wall.
The good thing about that is I simplified the first phrase, so it brought attention back to the vocal. So
Okay.
you're singing, and then we go into our second half, which is the spontaneous thing that.
Yeah. See, and what I like about what people just saw is, sometimes session musicians, like, the drums get done, the bass gets done, but people don't appreciate how much goes in. It's like the guitar is almost like an orchestra, and what you can do and how much time it takes, or can take, right, to get something to really come alive. It's just such a amazing thing that the guitar can be. It can be such a musical, like, it can do so many different things.
Yeah, generally bass and drums can go down immediately, and generally, often you want your drummer and bass player to do it once or twice and get their first take, because that's the nature of it. But guitar can go 1,000 different directions, and it just depends on what decade you want to live in, or what combination of 3 decades you want to mix your influences from. It's wide open, so I mean, it's just a limitless possibility. So it ends up taking more time.
Yeah.
To get one song done than for a bass player and drummer, 'cause you want your drummer and bass player just to throw it down.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what we're going to do now is the chorus. Take it away. Let's see.
Okay, I'll just take a shot at it and see what happens.
Okay, so let me ask you this one thing really quick. That is like literally the hardest thing in the world for me to do, is arpeggiated picked parts without choking on any note. How do you get so good at that?
You just do it a lot. I mean, the thing is, it's always, and you shouldn't, you can always fix and punch in and stuff, but you just try and make sure you never make your hand into a pretzel.
Yeah.
Basically, try and keep your hand from becoming a pretzel where the fingers go over each other. So, anyway, I just picked kind of a mid-neck high. You did not have a high guitar in the chorus, so it was fertile ground. It was wide open for me. So I picked a mid-neck, high G shape, and then I dropped to a D shape, and then E minor 7. C, D again, and then when it wound around to the next C chord, I used that as an opportunity to climb up, kind of exactly the same way I did at the end of the pre-chorus. So I'm climbing. timing melodically, and it puts my hand into a new position. My hand is here. And now my hand is in a higher register, so the second half of the chorus I can lift because I'm up here now.
Mm-hmm.
And I got there by playing a melody and walking up to it. So now I'm up here on this G. And I do this D. Over the D, and then I see this train wreck coming where I have to, there's a B flat and an F, which is the wild card. Nice writing. But so I'm here. My trick, my solution is to take this D chord and just come down to the B flat chord. And I'm all set up to grab the F chord. And then it lands on D. And I've made it through.
That was awesome.
Cool.
It's just mesmerizing, like all the little things that come into play, but when you break it down like that, it makes it sound like attainable. It's like, oh, okay, you're playing basically inversions of chords in different spots.
Exactly. Yeah. If you just you eventually learn all the chord shapes on the neck. Here's a G, here's a D, and it's really satisfying to keep your hand in one spot
Mm-hmm.
and play these different inversions.
Yeah, why make it harder?
Yeah, exactly. And then halfway through, it's satisfying to go up, add intensity, and then you parachute out by going, okay, I gotta find a B flat. Okay, whoa, there's one. I'm here. Find the B flat, and then find an F quickly, and then find a D, and then you're out. You know, looking at the chart, looking at the chords,
Yeah.
just trying to hang on by the seat of my pants.
All right, so the solo is the same progression,
Okay.
but I'm having trouble getting out of it. So let's take a second, regroup, and then see how you would do it.
It's solo time. Good.
All right, so we're going to do the solo, but the interesting thing that happened was when I recorded this song, the solo is actually, I think, twice as long as it was.
Oh, okay.
And then my friend listened to it, and he's like, dude, this isn't 1980 anymore. You can't do a solo that long.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, whatever. So for some reason, shortening it kind of just messed it up in my brain. And obviously, people have seen your rhythm skills, but I don't necessarily know if people know what a monster you are at lead playing, too. So not that you have to do something flashy, but I know that you can. So if you felt like throwing it in there just by all means do it.
What I see here on my chart is I'm playing the second half of the chorus, so I have that B flat and F kind of danger zone. And what I'm going to do there, I know from experience that B flat and F in the key of D usually happens in the key of D minor. Wait, no, let me think about this again. G, I'm playing the key of G, and I go to D, and E minor, C, K, T. I'm going to try going to G minor there, and it could absolutely fail. So this is a good thing.
I'm glad you're going there because that's where I went.
Is it really?
See,
Then it's not going to
yes.
fail. You already vetted it for me. Okay, well, we're cheating. We're cheating. So I'm going to play in G major. I'm going to follow the chords. I'm going to play melodically. When it goes to the B flat and F, I'm going to say that's in G minor for a second. And then I have to land and parachute out in the key of D. And you've offered me the chance to keep playing in that re-intro, so I'm going to do that too. So here we go.
Take a chance on love. Take a chance on love
I'm never going to actually ever put this song out now. Because there's just no way. That was amazing.
It worked. At the end, I always, go, well, was it good enough? What can I change? I think the end was, maybe I could simplify the end. Let's listen to it, though. Let me just see this. does end there, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
Yep. That was terrifying.
I stand behind it.
And you know what's funny is when you talk about speed, I want people to understand that it is cool to be able to go fast, but what you're doing is maybe not playing as fast as people you might see on the internet, but it's perfectly pocketed, which is like, I think that's what people really actually want to hear when it breaks down to it, because it gets you into the music, where sometimes when people play too fast, it's like robotic, you know what I mean? But that like just
Yeah, I have
sucks
to
you in.
Yeah, I have to say that you want to play from the heart, and one of the guitars that is really an instrument that your technique can quickly leave behind your emotional, output. That being said, there are emotional guitar players who play as fast as, John McLaughlin, Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
They're guys who play emotionally fast.
Yeah.
But for me, most of the emotional content comes from playing kind of slowly, and that's just because I grew up listening to Eric Clapton and B.B. King and Jimi Hendrix, and so it was kind of, speed was, there were flourishes of speed, but it was mostly about finding that narcotic, dreamy, or just finding the sweet notes against the chords, the elastic stretching, dreamy, David Gilmour. It's as slow as it can be, but as huge as the sky or as big stadium or whatever. So that's just kind of me. That's where I'm at. So
what was amazing though is when you mention that, you can hear those elements in the playing. But like you mentioned Eric Johnson, who don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Eric Johnson, but it always ends up sounding like Eric Johnson, to where that is like hard to pinpoint. It's like there's so much just happened right there. You had blues, you had the arpeggiated kind of riffs in there. It was just like everything came together and was. That's why you're Tim Pierce.
Oh, well, thanks. Thanks. Good. Yeah.
All right, so I want to do one extra thing. I kind of want to do an outro, like almost kind of 38 special-ish.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So it's just over the chorus, and I want to see how you would interplay cool lead lines like that. But once the vocal comes back in, it can be tricky because you don't want to step on.
Yeah.
A vocalist. So
yeah, this is easy in a way. All I have to do is I have to pay attention to the vocal, and I have to take a back seat. And so I'm going to turn myself down in the track, so that'll happen naturally. I'm going to listen and see if I can find ways to play around the vocal.
Tricked you.
No, at a certain point, I actually decided just to play constantly, because that's you can do that. And maybe the song's fading, and it's okay at a certain point to actually play, because you can always mix it so you hear the vocal, you hear the guitar player jamming away.
Yeah, and that it's cool that you did it, because one of my favorite bands ever, and the back and forth between the singer is Journey, and it's very the same thing. It's like those bluesy but really melodic, just amazing riffs. And
well, you hear the vocal line, somebody sings something, and you go, you answer, you got a spot, and you're doing trade-offs with the singer, basically. It's very, you look at it that way, it's very easy to comprehend. And then at a certain point, you do want to just start going,
yeah. Exactly.
Because that'll work, that constant, guitar noise, it'll work.
Yeah, for sure. Can you, really quickly, one thing I really notice about your playing is how locked in rhythmically it is. Some people call it the pocket or whatever.
Yeah.
And that really, I don't think people understand what a big deal that when multiple instruments hit together at one time, what an impact that makes on the...
Yeah, well, I've spent my whole life kind of rushing ahead, just like most guitar players. We're all guilty of that. And it's just heartbreaking for me to be playing a solo and listen back and realize I'm ahead of the snare. And I've dealt with it all my life. So at this point, I'm usually pretty able to hang back no matter how much intensity. I mean, it's one of those paradoxes where you want to have as much intensity as you can, but you want to prevent that from rushing ahead. I'll demonstrate rushing ahead.
So you just showed people how I was gonna play it.
So that's kind of ignoring, but you want to try and keep your clock in sync with all the other musicians' clocks, you know. And that, thank
Ah, that was magic right there. Just perfect timing.
little flubbers. But
So,
yeah.
I want
try
people.
and play in time.
I want people to realize what they just saw, because seriously, I've seen so many people play guitar, and people, and you know, that do what you do too, and that's, you're witnessing complete magic.
Tell my wife.
Yeah, exactly. All right.